Hello everyone, this is Chelsea from Those with Words. Welcome to the channel. Today I'm here to share with you a journal flip through of this insert. This is the memory keeping insert that I have been keeping in my traveler's notebook. And this is the undated vertical weekly insert. And I have completed it for the first 6 months of 2023, January through June. And so I just wanted to share what the weeks and the spreads have ended up looking like. But before I get into it, I wanted to do a quick description of the cover, and I will try my best to leave all the links below for all of these wonderful artists. So the first sticker here is from Dayu. This says, "You are awesome," and it's this really shiny silver chrome type of sticker with lots of fun characters inside. I really enjoy this one, so I wanted to put that one here. And then you'll also notice I have tons of stickers from the wonderful artist Ameru. So this is the Love Soup and Ameru collaboration sticker. This is one of the K-Truck stickers from Ameru. And then I have the day version here at the front. And then I have the night version at the back, and that was intentional. I wanted to include both stickers on the same cover, front and back. And then this little one right here is also from Ameru. And this owl sticker is from Tio is Drawing. I really like to include really large fun stickers that I have either purchased or received from subscriptions to Patreon. It varies from where I get these stickers. This one in particular, I think I got it from Happy Mail, actually, from one of our friends in the community, Judy Tokubetsu Memory. So thank you, Judy, for helping me get this Dayu sticker. I think it also came with like a couple of Dayu items. And so, yeah. All of these I just really love, and I try to save the best stickers that I have for these types of things, like decorating covers. And then on the inside cover, I also used another Ameru sticker. This is from Job's Journal. This is like a little white rabbit candy, and it says 2023 on it, so I thought that was really fitting. And this is a coffee sticker from this year's Travelers Company theme, and it also says 2023 on it. So I put that there, and then these pieces are actually PT tape pieces, and I believe this is an Hours Studio PT tape. I think I had a sample of this, and I really enjoy the look of it here, and it says writing, and so I put that down here for this insert. These pages I actually haven't used for anything. If anybody has any ideas or wants to share what they use this spread for, I would actually love to know, just out of curiosity, because I always make sure to decorate this cover part, but then once I get to this spread, I don't actually quite know what to do here. I can imagine a couple of ideas, like, you know, goals for the first 6 months, or maybe really memorable moments from the first 6 months. But other than that, because I actually do all the memory keeping on the weekly pages, I'm not actually sure how to make the best use of this spread. So if you have any ideas, I would love to know. And then here there are, I believe, 2 spreads, like this one. So this actually starts out empty at the top, like this spread right here. There's usually just nothing here. I find it interesting that even though this insert only has 6 months of weekly spreads or pages in it, that they kind of give you the whole year. I actually like that, because when you're, if you're using this as a planner, then you can actually plan out the whole year in here. But for me, since I'm using it as a memory keeping, which basically is like going back after the week is done, or just kind of throughout the week writing down memorable events. It's kind of like a mini scrapbook, if you will. Because I'm doing it that way, how I use this spread is I used it to track all the different fountain pen inks that I have used throughout. So you'll see this a lot, but every week I try to use 1 or 2 fountain pen inks to write with. Either I had this inked in my fountain pens or I used my Kakimori dip pen to write this. And so I dated it, or I put down January through June up here, and then I just kept track of it every week. So that is how I did it, especially for some of these really sparkly inks. I ended up using the Kakimori nib, not dip pen, sorry. I said dip pen earlier. The Kakimori nib to really make these shiny inks pop, because they can clog some of your fountain pens. I know some people put them in their fountain pens anyway. For me, I have stuck to using the Kakimori nib for now. So that's how I use these pages. And then because I only tracked the inks for the first 6 months, the other half is blank. And here is the first spread. This is where I actually found out I really like alternating the inks between the days. And I thought this is a great opportunity for me to use up my fountain pen ink samples. And so that's what I chose to do for most of this insert. And as I'm flipping through here, I will say there is more ephemera in the beginning. So for example, this one right here, there's like a little churro donut sticker and a little piece of Happy Mail, like the stamp. I thought it was really cute. So I decided to include that as a part of the spread. And here's a little place that I think this place is now closed, which is actually quite sad. But we tried this place, my partner and I, and so I got a little piece from their business card, and I ended up putting this right here. This is a little bakery that we went to. So things like that, I think towards the beginning of the year are a little bit more common. And then as I moved through the year, a lot of the larger ephemera pieces ended up in a separate ephemera journal, which is in another traveler's notebook of mine. And each week I try to use a consistent color scheme, more or less, and I try to switch it up between the weeks as best as possible. And I remember when I got to February, I used to stamp the dates because this is an undated insert, so I was stamping each and every date. And then that got to be a little bit boring for me. Like, it was relaxing at first, but after a while I was like, oh, I'm just kind of stamping these dates in this gray ink. Like, is there any way for me to change it up? And so in February, I decided to change it up with this method of just lettering each number, or not necessarily lettering, but I guess like blocking style, using that style for each number, and then putting some watercolor in the background. So I used the Uni Pin pen for this because it's waterproof. And then I just used some fun watercolors that I have to make these circles. And so I actually really liked doing this. I'm doing something different now, which I'll show you as the weeks go by again. And I think here I decided to break it up a little bit by, not doing circles, but having it vary a little bit more with my water brush strokes. Yeah, I think I'm just trying to let it take a little bit more of an organic shape after using like a very circular motion for the first week of February. And I actually really like this color scheme. I don't do a lot of darker color spreads for some reason, and this is a really interesting combination of green, purple, and a little bit of brown, and then this ink is brown as well. And I actually really enjoy this spread. I haven't really revisited this color scheme since, I don't think. It stands out to me as I'm flipping through the pages, but yeah. And then there are other times when I just really go with like one color scheme. So there's some brown in it, but this spread by and far is just more red, or redder than the rest of the notebook. And then starting in March, I did something similar again, but I went for like a much messier style with the dates. And so I just scribbled the number with the uni pin pen again, and I still used watercolors, but just kind of brushed it really quickly. So this was actually a lot easier and quicker for me, and I remember enjoying this process quite a bit. And here, this is actually one of my favorite color combinations, is like brown and green together and a little bit of yellow thrown in there, like a mustard yellow, warm yellow. And I come back to this regularly, I think, throughout the spreads. And this is not unique to just this insert, it's just in my journaling in general. This is a much brighter spread. This is pink and purple and blue. And there are times when I look back, before each weekly spread, I actually look back the last couple weeks to see what I have done. And I intentionally try to change it up. Like, hey, I haven't used this stamp ink pad in a long time. Maybe I'll go ahead and use this time. Things like that. And sometimes I letter, other times I don't. This week is very even. I feel like the text really stays within each column, but then there are other weeks when it doesn't. Like this week is actually quite even as well. I used to write a lot in here. I'm looking at it now, and there are weeks now where, well, this one is a little bit uneven, but nowadays I feel like I do more decoration in here than writing. But I feel like back in March, I did a lot of writing. Oh, and then this is actually when I was in Japan. So this week and the following week, I was in Japan and keeping a separate travel journal at the time. And so instead of recapturing all of the writing in here, because they're much better summarized in my Japan travel journals, I just decided to paste a bunch of leftover ephemera in here and then just briefly summarize the times and the places that I was in. So for the first couple of days during the trip, we were in Tokyo, and then we went to Kurashiki over Friday and Saturday. So we stayed 1 night and 2 days there. And then we ended up going to Osaka afterwards. And Kyoto for a day, which I wish I had more time in Kyoto. This is actually when I got a little bit sick during the trip with a cold, and so we had to cut out a lot of our itinerary here, and I was really sad about that. So hopefully in the future I will have an opportunity to explore Kyoto properly. And then we came back to Tokyo for the last couple days of the trip. So it says Tokyo Part 2. I put my JR pass on here and just a bunch of other ephemera. I think this is actually from the service, the luggage service that helps you send your luggage from your one place of stay to another. And I just really like the logo. It's a cat logo. So that's really cute. And then I think this was like a little hang tag, so I cut it out and I put it in here as ephemera. And afterwards, I'm keeping it pretty simple here. I went back to stamping numbers, it looks like. It's also helping me recall what are some of the things that I used to try. And at this point, I feel like my writing is still very much contained within the columns, and they especially don't go out to the top and bottom. But I know for sure later on in this insert, they do. And oh, here's the brown and green color scheme again. It's a little bit different because the stamps I used in this spread is actually stamp paper. So I ended up stamping extra, of course, when I went to Japan. This is a stamp from Traveler's Factory Kyoto. This is a stamp from Superior Labor in Kurashiki. And because I actually stamped these on cream paper, I just took like a Muji notebook with me that I purchased when I was there, and I just like stamped all the pages. And that was cream paper, and this insert is cream paper, so it actually looks like I stamped it on the paper. It's very, you can't even really tell too much, aside from obviously these dotted lines that separate the hours, that it's even, really different paper. So I actually really like that. And then, oh, this is the first week. I just noticed, I was like, hey, these dates are appearing now. When I start using these MZGC, or is it MGZC? I will put a little bit more information below on what they're called. A kind friend helped me purchase this calendar through Taobao, so I'm not sure exactly the link of where you can get it from anymore, especially because it's now, July 2023, so I don't know if these types of calendars are readily available anymore, but they're basically paper, like little tearaway calendars, and I started using them here because otherwise I won't use up all of them. So I decided to just randomly distribute them across the page to make the weekly spread, and this is a staple thing that now I do across my weekly spreads. Oh, here I used a big printable. This printable is I got it from Ameru's Patreon, and it wasn't always colored in. It was actually just like a ink outline printable, which I thought was really fun. So I printed it on sticker paper from Online Labels, and I actually colored it in with some colored pencils. I didn't color everything, but I just thought it was kind of fun to give it a little bit of color on my own and then put it onto this page. Sometimes this is what I do as well when not a lot has happened. I don't know if I added this to begin with during the week, or what probably happened was I finished out the week and realized like Thursday, Friday, it was just like regular days, didn't really not a whole lot happened. And so I ended up putting this in here because I really liked how it looked with the rest of the color scheme. Here's a little bit of green and brown again, but I think I tried to change it up by using a slightly more orange ink. Maybe this is terracotta, May 1st. Let's see what it says here. Yeah, it's diamine terracotta is the ink. So this is also why I ended up tracking the different inks that I used, because it's really fun for me to flip through and say, oh, like that looks, interesting, or that one looks like a really fun color combination. Like, let me see which one that is, and I can easily look it up. And I think in May, this is where I started really getting comfortable with using the top and bottom of the weekly spreads. And so you'll now see lots more, stickers, decorations, stamping, some writing as well, really going into those areas. So I'm expanding how I use this insert, which is, really nice to see that I kind of experimented a little bit with that. More green and brown now in terms of inks here, and I tried to vary the decoration a little bit by putting some blue in there, but then the ink combination, I went for my safe brown and green combination. I actually really like this spread, and these two inks I actually don't have as a sample or as a bottle. So I believe what happened was I spent some time with How It Grows Writes on one of the weekend days, I believe, and I asked her if it was okay for me to try her pens. And so these are written with her pens, and I think one of them has an architect grind, and so it's writing in this specific way, so it's a little bit different. And one of them, I forget if it's just like a fine nib or a needlepoint nib, but it was a very fine sailor, I think. And these inks are... I'm also curious for myself. I'm telling you, but I also want to know. Sailor Shikiori Yozakura and Sailor Studio 223. And I just thought this combination was so nice. And so I asked if it was okay to fill my weekly spreads. Also doubles as trying her pens. And so that's what I ended up doing. This was a really fun spread to make. And I think ever since I started using the calendars here, I really just took the liberty of putting them anywhere and everywhere. It doesn't really matter if it's like way down at the bottom or way at the top. Wherever I felt like it makes the most sense, I think that's what I ended up doing. Here, I spent the weekend in San Diego and my trip extended to Monday. And so I just wrote a big giant San Diego because I have another travel journal separately for that trip. And this is what I usually do in a weekly spread when I travel. From here, I think you'll see a lot more photos. And the reason for that is I'm currently dealing with like a back arm pain flare up. I've had issues before, but it's kind of flaring up again. And it's been a couple weeks now and it's still ongoing. And so I actually was behind in this weekly memory keeping journal for a while because I wasn't really sitting at my desk, hunched over, writing, decorating, cutting and things like that. And so instead what I ended up doing was I printed a bunch of photos. And so this is 2 group photos from the San Diego trip, not even on Monday, but I just ended up putting them there because I really enjoyed them and I had some extra space. And then the rest of the photos are from the Travelers Company event that I got to help out with over this weekend, I think on Saturday. And I had a unique opportunity to work behind the booth for Travelers Company USA, and it was a really cool experience. And I wrote down a bunch of like memorable moments in here in bullet point form. It's really simple, but those are things that I really, really wanted to take away from the event. For example, one of the things here, the top one says, tiny baby and enthusiastic grandparents. So this event was held at Heath Ceramics and the booth was right here. And this was like a little open area, so people were walking in and out. And I think, a pair of parents came and the grandparents were with the baby. And so we were just like chatting, saying hello and, commenting on how cute their baby is. And then the grandparents took note of what we said about their grandchild. And so they came over and then they like kept showing us more photos of the baby. And I found it really endearing. I could tell like the parents and one of the grandparents was like they were a bit embarrassed, but one of the grandparents was like the other one was super enthusiastic. Like, look at like the baby, aren't they so expressive? And so I thought that was so cute. So I gave them all the reactions that they were looking for. And I was like, it's adorable. They're like so cute. This picture, it's so cute. And so I just wrote that as one of the memorable moments because I thought it was really sweet. It was really random. Didn't really have to do with Traveler's Notebook or journaling, but I don't usually get to interact with strangers in that particular way. So I was like, hey, that was something that I remember from that experience. And so I wrote that down. And I have a couple of other really fun memories in there as well. And so that really helped me fill out this week, even though, this event only happened on the 17th, but this big swath of the spread is all about that. And I decided not to be shy about it because that's a great way to fill up the spread. And it's a really big event that I really wanted to remember. And then here I ended up using this postcard. So this is a get out of journaling card. And this is from a dear friend, Tori, from Techo by Tori. And so basically what this card is a postcard. And it says, ultra rare, very, very limited card. Get out of journaling free. And so it's a really, really adorable idea where Tori sent out a bunch of postcards to friends saying, if you've been in a journaling funk, today's your lucky day. You've received a very special postcard, a Tori takeover. So basically, you can tip this into the journal and just be like, done. This page is complete. I don't need to worry about this anymore. And I thought this was the perfect occasion to use this card because I was struggling with back pain and I was already really sad about the fact that I couldn't really journal very much because I love journaling. This is one of my favorite things to do. And I really enjoy keeping up with this weekly memory keeping insert, but I really wasn't able to come to the desk often at this point in time. And so I decided to use this. I pasted in the dates anyway because I could, but I didn't write anything about them. So thank you, Tori, for this get out of journaling card, postcard. It's beautiful and I made great use of it. And instead of writing too much, I just wrote a couple bullet points here again, and I just lettered highlights just because, you know, these are just like some of the things from the week that I wanted to remember. But as you'll notice, I didn't really use any stickers or PT tape or anything like that for this particular week. And then the following week, I was feeling a little bit better. Still not a whole lot of writing here and more ephemera. So this is a donut shop, and then we actually got some English muffins from this place delivered, which were really, really delicious. So I did a little bit of decorating here while I could, and then did some writing there. And that pretty much wraps up this insert. The last two pages are actually, or the last two spreads are actually blank, and that's okay. I think it comes with a little bit of extra, and so my current one right now I've already set up for July through December, and it has enough weeks, so I decided to just leave this blank and not worry about it because this insert is done. So I've captured all of the memories from January through June. It's actually not too thick or chunky. I feel like it's a good finished insert size. I don't know. It's definitely thicker than before because of all the things I've added in there. And I think especially since I started using these dates from the calendar, it's bulked up a little bit, but it's definitely not too bad. And I enjoy just being able to tip in whatever I want into this weekly memory keeping insert. So here's some comparisons. So this is like the first spread ever, and then this is one of the last couple weeks of spreads. So I just feel like, I mean, actually it's kind of funny. To start with, I was really not afraid of using room up here, and then somewhere towards the middle I was really kind of staying in this space more, like this one especially. I did some decorating, but other than that, I really didn't let my writing escape this part too much. And then towards the end, I just kind of went wild again. So it's there are really no rules to this insert. I just kind of did whatever I felt like, and that's one of the things that I enjoy the most. So that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching this flip through. I hope you enjoyed it. And fingers crossed, here's to hoping that I can finish my San Diego travel journal pretty soon so that I could share that with you at some point. I do also have lots of other journal with me videos coming up, so hope you will enjoy those. But thank you so much again for watching today, for watching any of my videos. I really appreciate you, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.